Hey there folks, Caleb Downing with SDI, and today we're going to talk about my clone of the Mark 18. This little fella right here. Let's talk about it real quick. Alright, so this is not a technical data spec breakdown of this entire thing, because I could do that. I'd have to do a little bit more research, because it's been a few years since I actually put this thing together. And when you go down the cloning rabbit hole, that rabbit hole is endless. That is the rabbit hole of rabbit holes. Cloning, oh my word. You can get into the most just nitpicky groups of people out there that clone military firearms. And let's just start with a definition real quick, because I'm sure somebody out there is super into the clone world and they are freaking out because something on here is not right, right? So cloning is, in essence, carbon copying a military issued firearm. That's cloning in the military rifle world, right? So you take Mark 18s, Mark 12s, M16s, M4s, those firearms, M9s, pistols, all that stuff, you take it and you try to get an exact copy. Now, in the civilian world, to get an exact copy of a military rifle is impossible, right? In general, right? Unless you're going for something like maybe an M9, because you can get surplus ones, or like a M24, like a Remington bolt action kind of thing, you can get those. Weapons like this, you cannot do that because this is not select fire, right? So there are going to be certain aspects in the cloning world where they will let you get away with certain things, like not having a legitimate M16 full auto lower, right? They're okay with that to a certain degree, okay? Now you start slapping on other random, billet lowers and things, it's not really a clone anymore. Then it becomes an inspired clone. So you have a picture of what you want and you kind of build off of that and make it better, right? That's inspired stuff. This is, I would say, off the top of my head, like 95% correct. The only thing I can possibly think off the top of my head that is not 100% correct is maybe some of the markings on the lower, maybe, and not quite sure about the crush washer. Honestly, I'm not quite sure about the crush washer. Other than that, this guy is pretty spot on as far as I understand. And what that means is this is basically a Colt rifle. The lower is a lower that I milled out at an 80%. I marked it with electro etching, so that's an interesting thing that you can do as far as marking metals and stuff. Just running a current through a liquid that has a some kind of a medium stuff, and I use vinegar. I use not sugar, salt. And it etches the metal. So you use a stencil and you can etch stuff. And you can actually etch in markings and stuff. You don't need to see where I live, but you can actually see markings and stuff. And you can etch like roll marks and stuff and get what would be a correctly marked lower receiver, right? And in this case, I actually cloned this particular lower off of a lower that I had while I was in the military, right? I didn't have a Mark 18. I had an M4. But it was funny whenever I filled out the Form 1, because this is a Form 1, this is an SBR. When I filled out the Form 1, it was funny because I got a call from the ATF that was, going over the paperwork and stuff, because I had the exact same markings as far as make, well, not quite make. The make is me, but the model and the serial number were the same model and the serial number of the gun that I had in the military. When they understood that this was at 80% that I was building, milling, I was manufacturing, I was not taking a current gun and making it into something, they were like, okay, that's fine. And you could read between the lines, I had marked this exactly how it needed to be marked because this was my military rifle, right? Except for the fact that I put my markings as the manufacturer. I put, it's the same serial number, same model, and all that other kind of stuff. So you can get very nitpicky and stuff, and that's one of the beautiful things about cloning is you can get into all that stuff. As deep as you want to get into it, you can get into it, right? Just basically, in essence, a 50,000 view of this guy is it's a 10.3, not a 10.5, a 10.3 inch barrel. It's kind of a heavyweight barrel, and that's where another knock on this guy. He does not have the cutouts on here for a grenade launcher. He doesn't have that. I never will have one of those probably because I just don't have one of those. But my understanding is that should be on here, okay? My understanding of it. I'm sure some people agree, some people disagree. But 10.3 inch barrel with what should be a full auto M16 lower, right? That's in essence what this guy is. It's just a short, compact little gun, about as short as you can get. 10.3 is about as short as you can get. Still get some mighty powerful oomph out of the 5.56, but be maneuverable. be very maneuverable. There's different iterations of stocks and stuff on here. I have this is a B5 stock that's on here. I prefer the BCM Gunfighter because it doesn't have this beard catcher hole right here, because this thing right here will catch your beard when you get in there and get tight. A hair gets in there, something moves, and it pulls it out. It drives me nuts. The BCM Gunfighter stocks don't have that, and those are used out in the wild, so technically it's correct, but not as issued, all right? This has an old school, which one is this? The Comp 2, yeah, the Aimpoint Comp M2, a bomb-proof sight. I scrounged this thing off eBay, it was years ago. I should have bought like 10 of them. Super cheap. This thing, the batteries last forever. It's bomb-proof. It just works. It's amazing, but it's heavy. This whole gun is very, very heavy. This is not set up to be suppressed. Most of my guns are set up to be suppressed. For this guy to be suppressed, it needs I think it's a Knights NT4 suppressor, which is not the best suppressor that's out there. It's heavy, and it's expensive, and it's kind of hard to find sometimes. But you don't have to have it because not all of them were set up for it. So I'm not going to worry about that. At this point, I'm keeping this guy clone correct in that aspect that it is an A2 flash hider. Best as I can tell, it is a Colt. I bought it from a company that marketed as a Colt. But yeah, in essence, that's this guy. I love putting these things together. I could go way down more in the weeds as far as talking about this and break out a spreadsheet and stuff. This is not the best gun out there, right? This is not the best gun the military has. The military, when stuff is military grade, it really means that it met a specification and then the lowest bidder got the contract, right? So you can, as a civilian, make a better gun than this. You really can. But what I'll tell you is this guy is smooth and this guy runs. He runs like a striped ape. I rarely ever clean this guy. I think I cleaned him for a video not too long ago because he is actually kind of clean. But I rarely clean this guy. He's usually just oiled up and nasty and stuff, but it just runs and it's smooth. So let's shoot it a little bit. Let's put it on some steel. I'm not really going to shoot targets because this is not a precision marksman kind of thing. This is really a door kicker kind of gun, and it does some work. All right, so let's shoot this guy. Just runs, guys. It's just an evil little machine. There you go. So that's the Mark 18, a very, 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 in my opinion, fun gun to build. A lot of pieces and parts. You can still get them out there, but it requires some searching for different things. If you're into this kind of stuff, the AR15.com Equipment Exchange is a great place to find parts. What's the other places? Shark Arms, they sell a lot of Colt parts and pieces. If you look into the stencil stuff that's on the other side, the stenciling for doing the electro etching, that's a company called Dogfight Inc. And these little stickers you see on a lot of military rifles, these guys right here, that is from a company called Carolina Laser Works. He will hook you up with very accurately designed and made and high quality stickers. These are not just like little stickers that are going to peel off. These are metallic. They're not going to just fall off, and they're not going to fade. They're really good stuff. So anyway, guys, that's my Mark 18. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you liked that. I love how this thing runs. I love how it cycles. I love how it shoots. Probably, well, it definitely is my favorite SBR. Very, very high on my favorite firearms list that I have, and particularly a firearm that I have built that I really, really like. Anyway, guys, cable dining with SDI, I hope you liked that. I hope you found it interesting. If you guys have ever built clones or delved into that whole world, let us know about it. We'd love to hear about that kind of stuff. All right, y'all be good to be safe. Catch you next time.